Look what arrived in the mail.
Fuck, it's big. This is a big book. All this in President Snow's head? Fuck.
It begins. Not gonna lie, guys, I'm not looking forward to it. I don't want to be in President Snow's head, but hey ho, here we are.
On page 12,
but I do appreciate that you can kind of see glimmers of who he really is already kind of coming through, because it's going to be hard enough reading in his head. I didn't want to have any of this, oh, but he was misunderstood. It's nice to know that he's an asshole. And I mean subtly. Like, if someone read this book without knowing what he did or what he becomes, they would probably be like, they wouldn't notice it. They wouldn't know. But I notice in the district scum that he said. I noticed in the, I have a tendency to be obsessive and I need to work on that. And it's like, you fucking don't. So I do appreciate that. My copy is fucked of the copy I bought was fucked. The pages are coming away as I'm reading them. So that's great. Love that. That'll make it easier. But yeah, I do appreciate that it's not that for people who know what this guy is going to become, you can see who he is shining through. Hopefully it stays like that, because I hate it being like, oh, he was misunderstood all the time. No, I'm not buying that. So you can probably tell from my voice, I'm not American, but I assume that there's a lot of symbolism in the fact that the reaping is July 4th. I feel like that was very intentional. So I found that interesting, and it's weird having a date for it, because one of the problems I had with this prequel thing was that it was going to remove a lot of creativity from the fans who wrote fan fiction and made things up and decided when the reaping was themselves and things like that. So it's weird having a date for it now and knowing when it happens, but I do think that there was intentional symbolism with it being July 4th. People in the capital avoided watching the Hunger Games in the beginning. That's insane. When you know what it becomes, that's fucking insane. Just read The Reaping. I did talk briefly about things that I remembered from a video I did when I looked up what the book synopsis on Wikipedia. Should not have done that, and I should not have made a video on the synopsis. I should have read it if I wanted to make a video on the events. But I remember reading what happened and what Lucy Gray did at her reaping and thought, man, that's cringe. And reading it, man, that's cringe. I'm sorry, I don't like that clearly Lucy Gray had to stand out at her reaping in the same way Katniss stood out at her reaping. I would have sooner bought that Lucy Gray was just an average person who got raped, didn't do anything to make herself stand out, and then Snow had to work with that. I don't like, for one thing, I don't, maybe we'll find out what this girl that she put the snakes down the dress, like, we'll find out what she did to her, but for now, I think that, I'm unimpressed. I think that was really nasty and unnecessary and spiteful. Didn't deserve to be smacked by the mayor, but again, that was his daughter, so like I say, maybe we'll find out what this girl did. Like I said, I'm only at the start, I don't know. We'll find out what this girl did to deserve a snake down her dress, but for me, it was just unnecessary. And then the singing, for me, anytime someone bursts into spontaneous song, especially if you can sing, if you can't sing, it's not as bad, ironically, but if you can sing, it's cringy. And I know that singing is a big part of this. I know Lucy Gray can sing, and she's part of a whole trip of people who sing, and I know she sings a lot. I think she's going to sing in her interview, and I know she sings to the snakes at the end of the games, so I've got a lot of that to look forward to. That's going to be great. First impressions of Lucy Gray aren't great. I feel like it's very much trying to replicate the standout reaping that Katniss had, because what Katniss did was out of the ordinary and not what people did. So then what Lucy Gray did had to be not what people did and make her stand out in the same way. She assaulted a girl and sang. Make Lucy Gray her own character. Don't try to like make her Katniss. It doesn't help that Katniss can sing as well. I'm so conflicted on Dean Highbottom right now because he's the guy who's credited with creating the Hunger Games, but he also just fucking reamed Coriolanus out and like in public didn't give a shit, just fucking told him exactly what he thought of him. And it was like, yes, King, go off, put him in his place, but also fuck you. I'm seeing here that like I find interesting a lot of themes, like you can see who Snow is already in his behaviours and how he thinks and who he is. And there's also an interesting thing here about being a peacekeeper, that it's a 20-year commitment and you get shipped off to the districts. Because obviously the districts need peacekeepers. And I'm pretty sure I remember something about Snow being a peacekeeper at some point. Maybe I'm wrong. And that's how he ends up in District 12 with Lucy at some point. But I could be wrong. And we've hit the not like other girls. I should have known that he was that type of guy. Another girl, a typical girl, would be impressed. But there was nothing typical about Lucy Gray Beard. You know, gave like, you're not like the other girls vibes. And I hope if he's like that, if he says that or anything of the like, I hope Lucy fucking slaps him down because I hate that mindset. I fucking hate it. Oh no, he called her his girl. Oh no, and you just know that he means it in a possessive way, not in an affectionate way. I do find it quite interesting, this whole scene going on at the zoo cage, because it's like giving him a taste of what it's like to be gawked at, like the tributes are. So, and how little he can fucking handle it by the sounds of it. So it is an interesting kind of like, what's the word? Parallel? Like I see quite a few parallels, like the fact that he lives in poverty, and the fact that he's standing and being gawked at the way the tributes do when they're in the Hunger Games. And it's funny because none of it gives him any fucking perspective because we know what he ends up doing. That's what I'm finding really hard about this. We know where this man ends up. We know what it is that he's going to be doing. We know that there's going to be no like redemption or him getting better. So there is a bit of a fruitlessness when you read this, which is I'm finding hard to kind of like put aside. I liked the interaction with Lucy Gray and the children at the zoo. I think I like her better. Well, I say when she's not putting on a performance, but in a way that was a performance, so I don't know what I'm talking about. But she was a lot more likable, and I can see how people kind of didn't like my assessment that she was exactly like Katniss. Because whenever I heard that she could sing and she'd had an interesting raping and then she ends up being the District 12 girl who wins and she captures Snow's attention, I thought that those were all very Katniss-centric points. But I can see how people kind of object to that because she's also confident and a lot more sure of herself and a lot more, extroverted than Katniss ever was. You put Katniss in front of a camera and she froze up, you know? So the way that Snow is kind of like running by the seat of his pants at the minute because he did things by accident and just kind of ran with it. It reminds me of how, funnily enough, and it breaks my heart to say it reminds me of how Peeta was always able to like work a situation to his benefit. Although when Peeta did it, it was for the better, not for whatever Snow's selfish. He wants his money and his university degree, and he doesn't care. The reason he wants to do this for Lucy Gray is because he wants to win and hopefully get the prize money. I'm wondering if there's regret in Dean Highbottom because he doesn't seem into it anymore. Like he kind of like as if he wants it to die. And I'm also kind of wondering, is he the one who Peter Dinklage played in the movie? Because that guy never gets away from if it is, that guy never gets away from playing drunks, does he? I'm not gonna watch the movie. I have no interest in the movie whatsoever. I am kind of intrigued by the Haymitch one because I kind of know about the epilogue. But anyway, we're not talking about that. I don't immediately hate Lucy Gray. Her reaping bothered me. I don't like the venomous snake thing, and I don't like the singing or the spontaneous singing because that's not how an ordinary person would react, in my opinion, to being reaped to fight for the death. Kind of living for the District 11 boy too, because he fucking near beat the shit out of Snow. Love that. But yeah, still conflicted at the moment. Just don't know how to feel, you know? I'm about 50 pages in, a couple chapters in, and I do want to keep going. Like, I'm not totally, like, I was worried that I would be, like, totally repulsed and unable to read it in President Snow's head, but thankfully it's bearable and it's not, like, so bad that it's really ruining my experience. But I am intrigued and I do want to keep going. But yeah, these are my first thoughts, let's say, for the first 50 pages. And like I said in my intro video, I'm not going to just praise the arse out of the book for no reason whatsoever, but I'm also not going to unfairly criticize it. And I'm here for all types of discussion. Let me know down below. Again, don't spoil shit. Why would you do that? And yeah, first impression, conflicted. I thought I was done for the night, but this motherfucking bitch, when the girl died, is her name Arachne? Is that a name? Arachne? I just can't get over the audacity of, well, first of all, what got her killed in the first place, but she's not who we're talking about. Just this bitch, Coriolanus, mourning, and it's just being like, all the things Coriolanus thought as he dabbed his eyes that were so annoying about her and had ultimately brought on her death. He's thinking this at her funeral. This bitch. This motherfucker. I appreciate it, because, like, it's like, yeah, this is the kind of thing that this motherfucker would be thinking, but it's also just like, you little worm. The Capital's, like, hypocrisy is on, like, full display with the whole incident with Brandy and Arachne, if that's even how you pronounce her name, I'm sorry. Because, like, they're all mourning Arachne, like, oh my god, she's dead, I can't believe she's dead, I knew her all my life. And yet, they're still like, well, you know, the Hunger Games have to happen. Like, I mean, there's still, like, the unsureness from some people, because it's still relatively new, but, like, the way that they react to, like, the tributes, like, and the possibility of their deaths in relation to one of their own is so fucking hypocritical and blatant that I'm not surprised. Like, obviously that's the way they're gonna be, because they don't view the districts, like, the people as people, but obviously one of their own is one of their own, so they're gonna be like, oh, one of my own is dead, I can't believe it. It's so infuriating. Particularly reading it from Snow's point of view, because he's I still can't get over what he was like at the memorial for her, and he's getting all the credit for trying to help her too, and it's just like, oh my god, fuck off, man, fuck off. Oh, I wish it was you. I figured it out. I know how he saves Lucy. I remember vaguely he messes with the snakes from when I did that Wikipedia search. I've talked about that before. But the scene just happened with Clemmy, and the whole proposal in the snake enclosure, and it's like, okay, yeah, I know what he does. He's gonna put something of Lucy Gray's into the tank so that the snakes are familiar with her scent and won't attack her. So that's not going to be a shock for me whenever that happens, and I can't take full credit for being like, eureka, I figured it out, because I technically cheated. For people who don't know, years ago I did a video about the Ballad of Songbirds and the Snakes, mainly me complaining, and I looked at the Wikipedia synopsis. Shouldn't have done that, I've said all this before, but yeah, it took me a minute there, but just as I was actually going to the dishes, I was like, that's how he does it. So, cheating bastard, like, fucking hell. I can't help wondering, I'm going back and forth between doing different things while I'm reading, but I can't help wondering if the funeral of Arachne was what started the tribute parade. Like, was it, like, the first kind of, like, fucked up version of the tribute parade, and then, like a game of Chinese whispers, it kind of, the meaning of it was lost, like, and by Katniss's time, it's just the tribute parade, and nobody knows, like, what started it. Like, they didn't know about Brandy killing Arachne or anything like that. They just know that there's a tribute parade, and they get paraded up this big Scholars Road, I think, is that what they call it? I can't help wondering if that's what that is, if that was the first tribute parade, which would be interesting, and interesting that the meaning got lost, but are we surprised? So I just finished part one. Um, The Mentor? Yeah, it's called The Mentor. And I'm finding certain parallels interesting because I thought going into this that I was going to be like Lucy Gray is the double of Katniss, and I thought it was just going to annoy me the whole time. And yes, I can see significant comparisons to Katniss that still do bother me because I feel like Lucy Gray could have been a completely different character with no just someone new. Um, there's a part of me that thinks it might have been even more interesting if it had been a different district that President Snow, Coriolanus, was mentoring, because there's so many districts that we don't know about that got barely any attention in the original trilogy, but District 12 is probably the one we got the most airtime in the original trilogy. But funnily enough, with that, I'm actually starting to see where President Snow saw himself in Katniss. Like the situation that he seems to keep finding himself in situations that benefit him, that he's able to spin and make himself look good to everybody. He's like, oh yes, this was my intention all along, this is what I meant to this, or I'll do this because I know this will make me look good. And these things that are happening by coincidence. Like, he didn't know that Arachne was going to get her throat slit right in front of him. He didn't know someone was going to bomb the arena. He didn't know, all these different things. But he uses them, and he loves the attention. Like, he loves the attention he's getting from people, from how they're like, you're a hero. Oh, you were hurt. Oh my gosh, are you okay? Whereas in the original trilogy, things would happen to Katniss. Katniss would do things without thinking. Like, they wouldn't necessarily happen to her, but she would do things without thinking, and then people gave her attention for it. The rebels saw someone they could follow. The capital fell in love with her just for, well, her relationship with Peeta, and also just because she was so interesting and she sang and her dress caught fire and things like that. But where President Snow loved it, Katniss hated it. She resented it. She didn't want any of the attention. She didn't want to be the one that people followed, whereas President Snow does. Coriolanus Snow. Coriolanus Snow does. He wants to be followed and he wants to be revered. So I can see where, like, I never liked this thing, because even before I started reading this book, I've seen people going like, Katniss reminded him of Lucy Gray, and that's why she bothered him so much. I don't like that. In fact, I'm finding the weakest part of the book the emotions between him and Lucy Gray, because I was hoping it would be a bit more, I need this girl to win the prize, but it is starting to get like, oh, I'm starting to have feelings for her, and I just have no interest in that whatsoever. So I don't know. I'm hoping Lucy Gray is seeing him for what he is and is playing him, but I don't know if she is. So I think that's the weakest part of the book. I don't like the, I'm feeling feelings for her. She saved my life. I'm now in debt to you. Blah 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 blah. Um, I don't buy into that. I don't. It's not what I'm here for. In fact, it was one of the things that bothered me whenever the first description of the book came out and it said, "Oh, it's going to be President Snow mentoring the District 12 girl." I was like, "Oh, he's going to get feelings for her," and I'm right. And I was hoping it would be like he was just using her for his own ends, but it's not coming to that. Not that I want him to do that, but I feel like it's more in character for him. But anyway, I got off topic. I can see Katniss in him. And I think whenever he sees Katniss and how she doesn't react to these things the way he did, he feels that camaraderie with her. He feels that connection. And that's why they have those really interesting conversations with each other. Well, a lot of them are there's some in the movie, and then there's some in the books as well. Another note I want to make quickly, because I just remembered this, because I was about to finish off. I just remembered they haven't mentioned a victor. Has the Hunger Games so far just been the tributes going in and killing each other? Because they haven't mentioned what any of the victors have done, unless I've missed it. But is this the first time that there's gonna be someone who wins? And if so, is that partially what the success is about? Maybe I've just missed something, because it doesn't make sense, really, because they're losing interest in it. But then having a victor would be a good way of putting interest back into it. It's like President Snow said in the movie, he was just like, what's the point of having a victor? It gives them hope. So that it would be interesting if that was something that President Snow, because the way he's influencing Dr. Gowl without even meaning to, but he's still doing it, or Dr. Gowl's influencing him, who the fuck knows, he might mention keeping the victor thing going because it gives interest. So that would be interesting. That would definitely be interesting. But anyway, now my thoughts are definitely done. Hey guys, so for anyone who didn't see my video yesterday, I spent yesterday in A&E with my mum. We're both fine, everything's okay, but I used that time to read part 2, and obviously I wasn't going to record live reactions in the middle of a hospital, so I'm just sort of recapping my thoughts here. I took a lot of notes. I brought a notebook with me. The first line I have here in my notebook is, so everyone had a reminder who she belonged to. OMG, yuck, yuck, yuck. When he put that rose in her hair, I think it was, and he was just, and I was like, okay. And I was like, just so everyone had a reminder who she belonged to. I was like, you should have seen my face in the hospital. There's so many notes here where I was just like, if you'd seen what my face was like when I was sitting in that waiting room. Oh, she doesn't belong to you, you weirdo. And the insanely jealous happened, and I was just like, no pleasing you. There's no pleasing you. And then I realised why he was jealous as I kept reading, and I was like, you slut-shaming, asshole, bastard. I hate you. I hate being in your head. I want out of here. I want out of this prison. Of course he's a slut-shamer. Of course he's like, I want to be the only one. I thought I was the only one. And it's like, ugh. Like, it's understandable for his character. Like, I've written that down. I was like, the stuff that he was thinking about owning Lucy Gray and her belonging to him and wanting people to belong to him, it's along the right lines for his character. It makes sense that he would think all these vile things, but that doesn't mean I have to enjoy reading it. Doesn't mean I like having to be in his head. I don't like it. What a bastard. And then whenever he's talking to Tigress, and Tigress is just like, well, yeah, people do what they have to do to survive, and he's just like, I never thought of that because the Snows are like, better than blah, blah, blah. And I was like, it's like, it must be so easy in your head where you think the problems just get solved so easily. I hate you. So was the compact that he gave her the first instance of a token going in, an illegal token? And by the end of the part, we find out that, like, yeah, you're getting in big trouble, bitch. Thank God. Because you'll notice in some of my notes, I've had to, like, kind of do amendments because I read the full part. Like, I wrote, like, why has this happened? And then I'll write a note going, oh, that's why. So at least we know that he gets caught, but it's just like, was that the first instance of someone being given or taking a token into the games? Because that's interesting. Hate the romance. Romance made me cringe. The kiss made me cringe. I wanted to, like, just get up and leave the book in the chair and just be like, okay, I'm out. I'm done. I'm just not buying the romance. I can't get into it. I'm finding the origins of the games and seeing how things developed so interesting, and then I have to be reminded of this stupid ass romance that I'm just not into, that I'm just not buying. I don't like viewing a romance from Snow's head. I hope Lucy Gray is still playing him. I hope she is playing this motherfucker like a fiddle, but it's hard to know at this point still because it's not the end of the book, so I'm not a fan of this I'm not 12 attitude that the Covey has, and I don't like that Snow used it to be like, well, she's not like the districts, she's like she could be like us in the capitals. It's like, it's very elitist, and it's a very elitist kind of thing to come from Lucy Gray as well, being like, oh, we're the Covey, we're not really from District 12, and I was like, we're not from anywhere, so we're not district. And I was just like, okay, right. It's like District 12 gets enough shit. In particular, like, we don't need your I'm not really 12. Like, that just bothered me. And then Snow used it to his advantage. That bothered me too. I never actually got an answer for this. I suppose it makes sense because she died. But did Lamina kill Marcus out of mercy or malice? Like, I know that she wanted to sleep on top of the bar. By the way, fucking fucked up what they did to Marcus, by the way. But that's just like, I think that's the beginnings of the capital just being unnecessarily cruel. You know, like, I was wondering, because whenever it said that he was up there, I was like, is someone gonna put him out of his misery? I was like, I hope someone is gonna put him out of his misery. So I can't figure out whether Lamina did that to kill him out of mercy, or just because she wanted to, like, sleep up there, and having a guy dangling there dying is a bit uncomfortable. But I'd like to think that she did it out of mercy. You know, just a little bit of faith in humanity there. I found it really fascinating that the blood gushing from Dill's mouth disgusted Snow, because we know what that motherfucker ends up like. We know what he does to become president and what he endures for the remainder of his days because of that, and how he dies. I thought that was quite interesting foreshadowing, actually. I was just like, huh, you don't like that, do you? Fascinating. Sorry if I'm pronouncing his name wrong here. I always pronounce names wrong until I hear them in, like, audibly or in movie adaptations, but Sejanus? I'm gonna say his name is Sejanus. Sejanus is interesting to me as the only character with empathy, because he came from District 2, and the only people we knew from the original trilogy from District 2 were careers, like Kato, Brutus, Inobaria, all careers who, like, trained for the games and were ready for the games and were ready to kill. Whereas Sejanus obviously hates this, and he tried his hardest with Marcus, and then he saw what they did to Marcus and had a very reasonable and justified reaction to that. It's just interesting how District 2 obviously changes in the oncoming years, and their attitude towards the games changes, because I don't know, Marcus didn't seem like he wanted to be there. I don't think careerism has started yet, so I'd be very interested to see how, I wonder if it mentions in Haymitch's book maybe, how careerism becomes a thing and kind of develops into what it is in Katniss's time, because at the minute there's none of that. And I actually took note about the pack. I was like, it's interesting how Districts 4 and 10 have formed a pack, because District 10 isn't a career district. I added an amendment whenever they betrayed Reaper. I always got Reaper and the other one beginning with R mixed up. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. But whenever they betrayed the District 10 boy, I was like, okay. I was like, that makes sense. Okay. That's probably why they don't end up as careers, really. Jessup's death was the first time reading the book that I teared up in any way. It was a brutal way to go. And I liked that, like, it happened way back, and we knew that it happened. We knew he got bitten, but we didn't think anything of it. We was like, oh, well, fuck, they're in a zoo cage. Didn't know what sort of shit was biting him. But no, rabies. And I actually really liked how Lucy Gray handled it whenever he fell out of the thing and was lying dying. I liked how she went and spoke to him, and it felt, like, really personal. Like, there was none of this, like, fuck you, we're both gonna die, might as well not like each other kind of thing. I liked that, and it was a really sweet moment, and I did well up. Didn't cry, but welled up. So that was probably the first time I actually, sorry, I got cut off. That was the first time I probably felt something emotional during my reading of the book. Lucy Gray being popular but not a good bet because of her physicality was probably the first example of getting the capital to like you being a very valid strategy in winning the games, because Snow was able to feed her and send her water and keep her, like, fed and fed and watered, because kind of redundant sentence there, but because the capital liked her. And I thought that's probably the beginnings of the success of the betting boards, and making your tributes like a bit of a spectacle, and doing the interviews and things like that, showing how it's not all about physicality and being Brit strong. You need to be able to get people to like you. That is also very important. So I find seeing the origins of certain elements to do with the games really interesting. I wrote a longer note up on that for my final thoughts video. It's interesting seeing, like, how the cornucopia is obviously going to come in to stop there being inactivity at the start, and the fact that the bombs change the landscape of the stadium probably inspires how there will be a new arena every year. I find seeing those elements coming together really fascinating. It's just whenever the romantic stuff happens and I'm just like, oh, kill me. Like Tigress, but her hypocrisy kind of showed in the way it was like, I couldn't bear the thought of my little cousin being in that arena. And I was like, there's 24 district people who have to go into that arena every year. Like, and I know Tigris is one of the better ones who kind of like feels a bit of sympathy for them, but even in that, it's like even the most empathetic people in the capital still have like their hypocritical moments, like their moments where they're like, I can't imagine like one of my people, one of the civilized people being in the arena. And it's about like, okay, girl, well, you know, actual human beings have to go in every year and you don't exactly have the same kind of thoughts about it then. I wrote this down quote for quote. It was like, why did everything have to be an uphill battle for him? I wrote here, if I wasn't in a hospital, I'd scream at the audacity of this bitch. Reading him thinking that was just like, everything that is going on to the people around you, and you think it's just an uphill battle for you, you selfish, ready to throw fucking hands with this bitch. Okay, so thankfully the snake thing wasn't as bad as I was anticipating, because whenever you read Lucy Gray sings to snakes and they don't attack her, obviously you're going to be like, what the fuck? I still don't understand her gut instinct to sing to them. Maybe she did that in the districts, I don't know. But it thankfully didn't read as bad as it sounds whenever you just read a synopsis of it and you're like, why the fuck would they do that? Because obviously Snow cheated. Like I say, I don't understand why her gut instinct was to sing. The song's really nice, and I actually heard the Rachel Zegler version, and it's actually really nice. I'm still not going to see the movie, but I do like the Rachel Zegler version of it. Was her dropping the snake down the girl's dress supposed to be foreshadowing just for this moment? Because Dr. Guile said, oh, your girl inspired me, because to me that's really lazy foreshadowing, because it really didn't serve anything besides, oh, we need something to trigger this moment later to happen. But I haven't read the last part, so maybe she explains why she did that to that girl, but so far it's just like, that's pretty lazy foreshadowing, I'm sorry. Very much sees Lucy Gray as an object. Like this whole talk of like, oh, maybe in the future we can be together and she'll sing at a club and I'll be like working and like everyone will know that she belongs to me. He sees her as a trophy, not as a person. Even if he thinks he has emotions and feelings for her, he still views her as everyone needs to know that she belongs to me and nobody else. Because the reason he didn't like the song she sung in the interview was because it was clearly about someone that she had feelings for back in the district, and something happened and he got really pissy about it, and he was just like, well, I want everyone to know she belongs to me, and how can she belong to anybody else? And it's like the man disgusts me. He grosses me out. He's just a big glob of gross. I actually also wrote down here that I wonder if the tribute parades evolved from Arachne's funeral, or if they evolved from Snow writing about it in his proposal about what was great about the war. Because Dr. Guile has obviously taken his ideas on board. She stole it. She took his sponsorship idea, and she took the idea of the Hunger Games from High Bottom. So she very much steals from other people. But like, I don't care that she's stealing from Snow. I actually wrote down here, like, I don't care that she's stealing his ideas. It's like if Bundy stole ideas from Wayne Gacy, evil is facilitating evil. But I would find it interesting if this was Snow's idea, because a lot of these ideas seem to be coming from Snow that evolve into what we see in Katniss's time, which would make sense of him why he's so in control and knowledgeable about it in Katniss's time. Is this like because all of it has evolved from him? Wondered why he became a peacekeeper, and we know now. He bitch got consequences for his actions. Not exactly. I still have that helpless fruitlessness feeling, because it's like, yeah, he's got consequences for his actions, but we still know he's going to be president. We still know that he's going to live a good 70, 60 odd years from now. And that does make it difficult for me to read, because it's just like, this bitch isn't going to get any comeuppance anytime soon. Sure, he's got a bit of a punishment being a peacekeeper, but he's going to be president, you know? So hopefully I'll get the final part read soon. I won't make any promises where or when, because obviously things happen. I think we found that out yesterday, so I'll keep you guys updated, and hopefully I'll be able to record my live reactions to part 3, The Peacekeeper. His initials was on the handkerchief. His father's initials were on the handkerchief. What a dumbass! What an idiot! And this guy becomes president! Bro. Oh, but he's dead now. He's been dead for years, cried Coriolanus. He deserves to be, but he seems very much alive in you. Oh. High bottom is fucking flaming him right now. Fuck, tear him apart. I'm living for it. I really hope this winding up, like the whole, I'm going to see her, my Lucy Gray, and we're going to embrace each other, and I'll wrap her in my arms and never let her go. I'm hoping this is like building up to like him getting slapped down, like something is gonna, whenever he sees Lucy Gray again for the first time, something's gonna like burst his bubble, because that would be great. Because I don't want any more lovey-dovey, but I feel like there's going to be more lovey-dovey, unfortunately. Snow's inner thoughts about District 12 is infuriating. Like, it's just so blatantly, like, elitist, even for someone who knows poverty himself. Obviously, he doesn't know poverty to the extent of District 12, but, like, he's just so... Like, he literally says, and some part of him blame them for their plight, as if it's their fault. I hate this man. I know I'm not supposed to like him, but, like, what a piece of work. I don't like getting the exact situation that inspired the Hanging Tree song. Like, Lucy hasn't even sung it yet, and I know that this is what inspires the Hanging Tree song. Like, Arlo and Lil, what just happened between them obviously inspires the Hanging Tree. I don't like that it's so literal, if that makes sense. The song always seemed so, like, symbolic, and to see that it was inspired by something actually quite literal was a bit disappointing. And it removes a lot of mystery, and I don't like that. That's what the problem I have with some of these prequels. Like, they answer questions that weren't being asked. Didn't need to know what inspired the Hanging Tree song. It stood by itself as a haunting rallying cry in the rebellion, and getting this kind of answer as usual, it's just disappointing. It never really reaches expectation. So yeah, that was a bit just made me feel a bit, oh, okay, that's what inspired the Hanging Tree, huh? Okay, so we know now why Lucy Gray dropped the snake down Mayfair's dress. Relatively justified. Although I'm not sure why she had the snake in her dress in the first place. Unless there's gonna be something here that, like, Lucy knew she was gonna be raped, so she brought the snake for that. It was sort of hinted at the beginning that it might have been rigged, but I'm not sure. I hate cheaters, so, but I don't like really when the other woman gets more punishment than the fella. Although by the looks of it, the fella got kicked out of the covey. But I still, it gives me the ick whenever the women go after the other woman. Although Mayfair very clearly must have knew that Billy and Lucy were together, but still a bit of an overreaction to me. But I've never been cheated on, so I don't know. Actually, I probably would be petty about it too, so I can't say anything. I probably would be a petty bitch, so makes sense. So at least there's an explanation, because I was worried there wasn't going to be, and it was just going to be this random thing that she did for no reason. It is assuming that he did cheat, because the way Coriolanus is talking here is as if there's something else that Billy did that then broke them up, that then after that he then started seeing Mayfair instead. Maybe I just jumped to the conclusion of cheating because I just thought, oh well, that makes sense why she dropped the snake down her dress, but maybe she broke up with Billy and then she just dropped the snake down Mayfair's dress for being the one dating him afterwards, which would be a lot worse, because why would you do that? You'd broken up with him. So I'm hoping that Mayfair did cheat or something like that, because it makes the snake attack a bit more justified. I hope it's not like just because she started dating Billy after her and Lucy broke up. Him and Lucy broke up, because that would be really petty and not Mayfair's fault at all. So, and it wouldn't reflect good on Lucy Gray. So, I'm hoping that that's not the case. There's gonna be a lot of kissing romantic stuff in this final part, isn't there? They've just met up in the meadow, and they're kissing and talking and being gross. I'm just like, oh my god, just shoot me. Shoot me.
if you can't tell, I'm not really well, I am a romantic. I just don't like this relationship between Snow and Lucy Gray. I don't like it mainly because I know what his thoughts are. And it's kind of like, run, girl, run. I know she does in the end, but still reading this here, it's like, ugh, 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 ugh. And she just said, still not so sure why those snakes loved me so, not convinced it was my singing. Snakes don't even hear well. Then why the hell did she sing? Why did she sing to them if they can't hear her? He considers Lucy Gray's house his territory now. He is no more than a dog pissing on a fucking lamppost. So Mayfair is the reason that she was raped. How did Lucy Gray know that was going to happen? Like, to have a snake on her. There has to be, like, more to this. Like, there has to be somehow she found out that she was going to be raped, because why the hell else would she have a snake in her dress? Like, it's totally justified what she did now, because Mayfair got her raped in the games, but I still don't understand how Lucy knew that was going to happen. So I still have some unanswered questions. In some ways, it had been better to have her locked up in the capital, because he always had a general idea of what she was doing. This bitch! Dr. K is a surprising uh, breath of fresh air in comparison to Dr. Gowl. Like, you can tell that she loves the work that she does, but she cares for the birds. And I mean, I suppose Dr. Gowl cared about the snakes, but like she clearly had no qualms with throwing them into the arena for them to then die out and drown. So it's just like Dr. K seems to actually care about the birds and not like want to like throw them away on a whimsy. Like, she's come all the way to District 12 to capture some of them. And Coriolanus's natural distaste for mockingjays appears to be a pattern that'll never leave him. I feel like the mockingjays will haunt him more throughout his life than, well, Lucy Gray might. It is getting to that point, but I definitely think the mockingjay would be the thing that would bother him more than anything else. Listening to this man talk about Lucy's song is so, oh, he's making me want to pull my hair. I mean, I know I said that I don't like spontaneous bursting into song. Like, for no reason whatsoever, like we're in a fucking musical or something. That's what was bothering me. I've actually found that I actually quite like quite a few of the songs that have actually appeared in this book now. Um, but listening to like Snow be like, oh fuck, a ghost story, really? Boo. Oh, I guess I'll have to pretend that I like it. It's just like, you're insufferable. I hate you. You've no joy in your heart, no music in your soul. And you think that you can keep up with someone like Lucy? Loser. Clerk gave her Katniss roots. I wasn't ready for that. Oh my god. It's weird seeing her name written in lowercase as well. Oh my god. Shit, I'm such a baby, but that took me really off guard. You hit me with Katniss roots, and then you hit me with the fucking Meadow song. Are you kidding me? Fuck, I hate nostalgia bit. I do. But also, it's kind of working. I'm not. This bootlicking bitch. This bootlicking bitch! He's gonna record Saginus. I've just stopped at that chapter and I'm just like, he's gonna record everything Saginus is gonna say about his rebel plot. I know something happens to Saginus and I have an awful feeling that he dies or gets killed because I've always seen people kind of like lamenting him whenever talking about the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. And this is it, isn't it? This is what it's gonna be. Snow's gonna fucking... The Jabberjay's gonna go off and they're gonna fucking know what Saginus has planned. What a bootlicker. I mean, I know he loves the capital and all that, he always did, but what a fucking... Lucy Gray, I hope she... You know what, I don't even hope she runs off with Billy Tope. I hope she just goes off by herself. Or even with the rest of her covey, because fuck this, No, what a fuck... Oh. It's odd seeing Snow have, like, dilemmas over killing people, because whenever he's the president, like, he probably orders the death of, like, hundreds and thousands of people, and I'm sure he doesn't give a shit. And yet he's having a whole dilemma because he shot Mayfair, which, that's just murder, mate. You just killed her. He's trying to reason out that it was self-defense. Like a fucking idiot. But no, you killed her, mate. Bobbin, I'll admit, was self-defense. This was not. You should have just let her go. Or ran and grabbed her, or something. I don't know. But shooting her? She's dead, bro. You killed her. And it was not self-defense, okay? Or perhaps the second killing was just easier than the first. At any rate, he knew that he'd shoot her again if he had to do it all over again. And somehow that supported the rightness of his actions. He would murder a young girl all over again. What an upstanding citizen. What a real gent that we want for the president of our country. Saginus's last word was ma. See that feeling when that nothing happens to Snow for another 60 years? I'm really fucking feeling that right now. I want the fucker to die. So Snow changed his tune really fucking fast whenever he found those guns. Like, I was cringing the whole reading, well, the night before, going, he's pure as driven snow, and oh, we love each other, and oh, we're gonna run away. I was, eh. And then, as soon as he finds the guns, it was just like, yeah, I'm gonna leave her to her fate, but sure. Womp womp. I'm so glad she's gone. Like, I haven't fully finished, but I think she's gone. Like, she figured it out and she's gone. Which, good for her, girl. Good for you. You don't need that mess in your life. You don't. You're better off without him. Even though you're probably gonna die out in the wild of exposure, but still better than being stuck with him. The idea of life without him must be breaking her heart. What an egotistical, self-centered, asshole, bitch, bootlicking. He just tried to shoot her. He just tried to shoot her. And now he's saying that he owes her nothing. Even though it was all, oh, I owe her my life. She didn't, we owe each other everything, blah, 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 blah. How quickly this man just fucking dumped it all is actually frightening. The work of I would say a psychopath if he didn't seem to have, like, had feelings for her in some capacity, but the quickness that he was able to dump those feelings and attempt to kill her is terrifying. Oh my god. That epilogue was infuriating to read. I mean, I knew it was probably going to be something like that because I've said the entire time that we know the president, that he becomes the president, and he's fucking started his fucking poisonings now. So that becomes a habit. That's how he fucking gets to where he is. And we know the name of his wife now too. It's Livia. Ugh. Just, ugh. Annoying ass epilogue to have to read. It's quite late here and my nephew's staying over, so I don't want to talk too loud, so I'll talk more about having finished the book tomorrow. But oh man, that was a frustrating final chapter to read. I'm at a bus stop because I realised that I forgot to record a kind of final thoughts on the book thing. I'm going to do a full proper video on my YouTube channel, which will probably be too long to post onto TikTok, but I'll post a snippet and link it. So hopefully this footage is going to be useful because there's cars going by. But I think to say that I was wrong about the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is kind of half right, half wrong. Because my assumption was that it was about Snow falling in love with the District 12 girl after mentoring her, and then getting jilted by her, and that originating who he is and why he's such a bastard. So he does fall in love with her. That assumption was right. But to say that it was the origin of who he is a bit inaccurate, because he was a bastard before he met her. You could tell it in his thoughts. His thoughts were very telling even before he met Lucy Gray, and even his attitude towards Lucy Gray couldn't even be called love. It felt like he more wanted to possess her and own her than he actually had loving feelings for her. And to drop her as quick as he did once a better option appeared, it kind of tells to me that it wasn't really love. It was just possession, and once a better outcome appeared for him, he was ready to dump her for that. Do I believe Lucy Gray is alive? Because there's a lot of debate about whether she survived in the woods until she died of natural causes. No, I don't think that she would have survived. Look, I'm a cynic. I'm sorry, I'm a cynic. And even if she made it to District 13, she wouldn't know that District 13's alive yet. They wouldn't know that they're there just underground. No one knows that yet. So I think the most likely outcome is that she died of natural causes in the woods. Well, of exposure, most likely. I don't know if that counts as natural causes, but of exposure. She'd probably survive for a while, but I don't think she'd make a living out there on her own. Elements of this book that I enjoyed the most were seeing the origins of the games, and where certain things became... Sorry, I can see a squirrel and I've got distracted. The parts of the book I enjoyed the most was the games, funnily enough, was seeing how the games became what it is in Katniss's day, how at the beginning it wasn't as much of a pageant as just a thing to get it done. They wanted to get it done and that was it every year. But we can see from Snow, I think Snow and Dr. Gowl are the origin of it becoming a pageant and a reality show, and I find all those elements really interesting. Every time anything to do with love or feelings between him and Lucy Gray came up, I checked out. Totally. I thought I wouldn't like Lucy Gray, and at the beginning she did rub me wrong. The whole snake thing, just I discussed it before, it feels like it was trying too hard to make her have a standout reaping like Katniss did. But she definitely grew on me over the course of the book. There is a lot of mystery towards her. It's hard to know whether she knew who Snow was from the beginning, or if she was playing him, or if she played Billy Tope in some way. There was some kind of elements that everything about her was not how it seemed. So there was a lot of unanswered questions surrounding her, and I love unanswered questions. I don't want the questions to be answered. That's why I don't like these prequels so much. or I didn't. I gave the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes a go, and the only time I was particularly infuriated was when I was reading Snow being a selfish, self-involved, infuriatingly elitist prick. The one thing I can't wrap my head around is why this book was written. I've seen people quote Suzanne Collins a lot, saying that Suzanne Collins says that she only writes a book if she sees the need for it. So, a book doesn't need a reason to exist. I don't mean that. I just mean that people have quoted Suzanne Collins saying this. So, I've always wondered what the point of this one was, and why did she feel the need to write this one? I don't see, particularly in 2020 as well, I don't see what the need for being in President Snow's head was. In fact, some people think that she had to write Sunrise on the Reaping because people started to romanticize Snow from the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, so it didn't have whatever effect she wanted it to have. I'll go more in detail into that whenever I do the YouTube video. Like I say, I'll post a clip of it or whatever, because it's probably going to be too long for TikTok, so that you know that it's been posted to my YouTube channel. But yeah, those are my initial thoughts, kind of just general, and I'll go in more in depth in the YouTube video. So I was sort of wrong. Wrongish. We'll say I was wrongish.